the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session will definitely help you in regards to how to crack prelims and mains as well as both 2020 and 2021, because throughout my session I would be going ahead with emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases. Emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, wherein by emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, we will try to identify the factual and analytical questions which are very important for prelims point of view. Thereby, by identifying the keywords and the key phrases from the newspaper, that is from the news, we will identify the keywords and the key phrases, and then also the factual and analytical questions for the prelims. And as well as I will make you understand the importance of imbibing the keywords and the key phrases for the answer writing. So definitely I will also make you get into the practice of how you need to imbibe the keywords and the keyword phrases in your answer writing, wherein your answers should be precise and concise. So once your answers for the mains examinations are precise and concise, so definitely you would be scoring more marks, and that is what the UPSC will be demanding from a civil servant aspirant, that you need to be, that means your answers for the mains examinations have to be precise and concise. Thereby you will score high marks in the mains examination. So thereby my session will definitely help you to prelims and mains examinations for 2020 as well as 2021. And this session is in regards to daily newspaper analysis. And before I get into the topic, I would say very good morning to everyone. Good morning to Hemant, Ashwini, Lokesh, Rahul, Malvika, Sajivan. Very good morning to you who are in the live and also in the live chat. Very good morning to you all. And now I'll get into the topic, that is the daily news analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And today's news talks about army pulls back 1.5 kilometers from clash site. So definitely yesterday also we have looked at the special representative talks which have been taken place between both the countries, that is China and India. So prior to that we have also discussed that there were military engagement and then diplomatic engagement. And then yesterday we discussed about the special representatives talks in regards to the special representatives. So definitely this is a good sign that Indian troops, yesterday we have seen the Chinese troops have pulled out of the Galwan Valley and also from the hot spring area. So we have seen, as per today's news, that is the Indian troops have moved back. So it is a good sign that both Chinese troops and Indian troops are moving away from the LAC, which is a conflict zone between both the countries along the LAC. So definitely Indian troops have moved away at 1.5 kilometers, wherein exactly the June 15th or June 16th midnight the clash has taken place, and we have lost a great 20 Indian soldiers have been martyred, and exactly at that site, that is in the Galwan Valley, from there the Indian troops have moved 1.5 kilometers away, and now they have created, both India and China have created a zone called as buffer zone. And this is very important keyword, because this is the first time both the countries along the LAC are creating the buffer zone or creating the buffer zone. So this is very important for the prelims point of view. Buffer zone is very important. And then again we will be making sure that because of the buffer zone, which will be off limits to the foot patrolling by them for the next 30 days. So for the next 30 days it will be depending upon the patrolling from both the sides, that is the Indian troops and the Chinese troops will be taken into consideration based on the decision taken up at the corps commander level talks. At the corps commander level talks, the decision or the agreement taken by both the countries will be making sure that we will go ahead with trying to get into the mode of following the agreement reached at the corporate commanders level. So definitely we were talking about the defense engagement, military engagement, special representative talks, and then along the military engagement, that is the corps commander level talks. Part of the military engagement, it is the corps commander level talks which have been taken on June 30. So based on the June 30 commanders level talks agreement, the decision will be taken that the patrolling will be taken as per the buffer zone. Yes, Lokesh, I will explain you. In the next slide, I will explain you about what is the buffer zone. David have joined. Very good morning. Hemant is asking about PDF. I will definitely. What do you say? I've told you, Hemant, in regards to the YouTube, it is not possible. I will also talk with the AKS IAS Academy and then make sure that you also can log into the AKS IAS website and then have the request there. Hemant, have the request there. And then Madhu has also joined. Very good morning to Madhu. Rahul says, why 1962 war is trending? He is in trending, sir. 1962 war is not trending. I'll tell you all that, Rahul. I'll tell you. The 1962 war is not really trending, but the LAC, line of actual control, before 1959, I mean 1959, 1962, and then post 1962, we have seen 2013, 2014, 2017, and 2020. So 2013 in the Chumor, and then 2014 in the Depsang Plains, 2017 in the Doklam Plateau, 2020 now in the Galwan Valley. So we will look at, I will definitely make you understand what is the line of actual control and why today the issue is still persisting between the 1962 or post or pre 1962, that is 1959. I will explain you, Rahul, in regards to that. And what is buffer zone? I will come to the next slide. And the Chinese have definitely, as per the talks or the agreement between the corps commander level talks, the Chinese have fully moved out of the PP14. Yesterday I was talking about PP14, which is a cause of concern, that is the conflict zone. Patrolling point 14, 15, and also I said about 17A is the conflict zone. And then from the conflict zone, that is the patrolling point 14A, the Chinese have fully moved out. But yesterday, as per yesterday's news, the Chinese troops were still existing at the patrolling point 14. Yesterday's news. But today's news, yes, they have fully moved out of the PP14 area. But still, slowly the situation is moving forward in a positive direction, that the Chinese troops are slowly moving away from the hot spring areas and the Gogra. But the disengagement is very minimal in the Pyangong Tso Lake. The disengagement is very minimal in the Pyangong Tso Lake. So definitely in the Galwan area, the troops have moved, the Chinese troops have moved away, and the PP14 Chinese troops have moved away. Indian troops on the Galwan Valley, Hot Springs and the Gogra, yes, both the Chinese troops are also slowly moving away. And then in the Pyongyang Tso Lake, the disengagement is happening very marginal. Marginal in the sense at a slow pace. At a slow pace. So what you need to understand from this is the buffer zone. Buffer zone is a very important point here. Buffer zone is the one because it has been created for the first time, buffer zone between India and China along the LAC. Along the LAC. I will discuss about what is that. So now Lokesh, what you are asked about buffer zone, now I am talking about the buffer zone. So definitely we need to get into the mode of understanding what is buffer zone, because this is the one which is very important for the better understanding, conceptual understanding between India and China. So buffer zone has been created and it has been agreed to be set up a buffer zone, and this buffer zone you have that initially 3.6 to 4 kilometers. So you have different phases or different layers. You can say buffer zone, and then these are the layers in regards to the buffer zone. So 3.6 to 4 kilometers, you will have people, that is only 30 people, that is people in the sense we are talking about the forces, Indian troops or Chinese troops. So you will have only 30 troops who will be patrolling, who will be deployed from both the sides. 30 people or 30 forces will be deployed. LAC full form. Okay, very good. Lokesh, line of actual control. Line of actual control. So LAC is between India and China, and you have LOC, that is line of control. So line of control is between India and Pakistan. Lokesh, for your benefit, de-escalation in this context. Yes, de-escalation, Madhu, de-escalation is like moving away, moving backward. De-escalation, moving backward. D, escalate. That means moving away, moving backward. Madhu, I think you both have got. Lokesh, LAC means I've said line of actual control. This is between India and China. LOC is line of control between India and Pakistan. And de-escalation means moving away. That is, the troops which were earlier at the LAC are moving away. And now I'll come to the buffer zone. So what is buffer zone? That they have created a buffer zone and they have created a layers. And what are these layers are? That you will have different layers, that is of various kilometers. So 3.6, first layer is 3.6 kilometers to 4 kilometers, wherein only 30 soldiers will be deployed. And the second layer is you will have another 1 kilometer extending from the 4 kilometers. That is the first layer. That is, this is 5 kilometers. In another 5 kilometers from the conflict zone. So what is the conflict zone here? That is the Galwan Valley. Galwan Valley, wherein the June 15th and 16th, wherein we have seen the entire incident has taken place, and then 20 Indian soldiers are martyred. From that point, from the LAC, from that point, first layer is 3.6 to 4 kilometers. You will have only 30 people or 30 forces, and the next layer is layer 2. Layer 2 is 5 kilometers from the conflict zone. I will show you the diagram also. Conflict zone 5 kilometers, you will have 50 personnel or 50 personnel. That is, the forces will be deployed here, 50. Fine. And the third layer is, that is, you will have 6 kilometers from the site of the conflict zone, wherein on June 15th and 16th the issue has taken place, or else the skirmishes, the face off has taken place. And at the 6 kilometers, that is the third layer, you will have 80 personnel, that is 80 forces, soldiers will be posted there. So definitely buffer zone is segregated into 3 layers. Layer 1 3.6 kilometers to 4 kilometers, or else you can take 4 kilometers from the conflict zone, wherein only 30 personnel can be deployed. Second layer is 5 kilometers from the conflict zone, wherein 50 personnel, that is soldiers, can be deployed. The third one is third layer 6 kilometers away from the conflict zone, wherein 80 personnel can be deployed. And what is the use of this? What is the objective of this buffer zone? Creating the buffer zone. What is the objective? The prime objective is to make sure that there is no eyeball to eyeball contact. So this is very important, the keyword eyeball to eyeball. That means facely, direct to direct contact. That position should not be, because definitely when the forces between both the countries, you are having that eye to eye contact, so definitely there could be a more of aggression taking place between both the soldiers, both the countries, both the what is the forces. So that is why the primary objective, the basic reason to create the buffer zone, is to make sure that the basic reasons to create the buffer zone is to make sure that there is no eye to eye contact or eyeball to eyeball position, and that is very, very important. I think you all have got it. And we have another news. So buffer zone is very important. Please do try to understand the buffer zone. So, and the second defense source, you have another source which has been citing that there are different reasons why this situation has caused. And Rahul, to your answer, now I'm coming to the point. Why 1962 war isn't trending, sir, you ask. So definitely now we'll get into the point that there is a defense source. There is a source from the defense that they are saying that there are 3 reasons for this extreme caution because of this buffer zone. Why buffer zone has been created? So first instance is Chinese have claimed in the year 1959, when they have actually, what do you say, we had between Jawaharlal Nehru and Zhou Enlai, the Chinese premier, and then India's the Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, they have signed an agreement that which is the demarcating area between India and China, demarcating line between India and China. 1954, you have this Panchashil agreement. I will tell all that about later on. 1954 you have this Panchashil agreement, and 1959 China agreed to area of patrolling point 14. So what we were talking about PP14 today, that the Chinese troops have moved back. So what, as per 1959, since then no patrolling by China has taken up. No patrolling. Rarely helicopter recce has been done, but many a times we haven't seen any kind of patrolling which has taken up between both the countries. Between both the countries, especially from the China side, 1959. So definitely, if you look at 1959 and now, this is very important. Now everyone, please do try to understand. This is the clash point. Why buffer zone? So this red line is the buffer zone now. Fine. What we were talking about, 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers, layers, and then 6 kilometers. Layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, buffer zone. These are the layers. So this is the clash point wherein on June 15th and 16th there was a clash between Indian and then Chinese troops, and then we have lost 20 brave Indian soldiers, and this is the line. This is Indian position. Yellow one is the Indian positions, and then these red ones are the Chinese position. So definitely 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers, as we have spoken about 30 personnel, 50 personnel, and then 80 personnel, that is the soldiers. So definitely this will be the buffer zone. Why buffer zone? I will explain now. Now what we are talking about 1959 onwards. So this is the Galwan Valley. Galwan Valley. This is the Galwan Valley. This Pyangong Lake, Galwan Valley, all this. Can I move ahead? Now I'll move ahead. So here in this you have the 2 kilometers range which has been marked, but as per the buffer zone layers, 4 kilometers first layer, second layer 5 kilometers, third one 6 kilometers. And as per 1959 we have seen, but if you look at 1959 and now 2020, the situation has changed a lot because of the LAC, line of actual control. What was in the year 1959 between India and China, and the line of actual control now between India and China in the year 2020 is definitely a cause of concern. And now China is definitely getting into the Indian territory. So this is Aksai Chin area. This is Aksai Chin area wherein the Chinese claim that is their area, and then they are moving into the Indian territory, and then they are really worried about. I'll try Lokesh. I'll try. And China started objecting because India has gone ahead with the infrastructure development. As India has gone ahead with infrastructure development in the Galwan Valley, in the Pyongyang Lake, in the Demchuk. Yesterday I have also spoken about Darbuk, Shok, Daulat Beg, Oldie Road. So this is also an construction, infrastructure development, which is 255 kilometers I said. So definitely these roads and then bridges, India is going ahead with the construction of the roads and bridges in the, what do you say, along the LAC line of actual control, and this is creating a problem for China, and that is why the PLA, People's Liberation Army, is shifting their LAC right from 1959 to 2020. If you look, slowly they are shifting it. And the second one, what is the concern is the Nakula Pass. Nakula Pass is in Sikkim. Please do understand, these are all very, very important for prelims point of view. So you have Nakula Pass. You have also Nathula Pass. Nathu. Nathula Pass. So you have Naku, Nathu. Both in Sikkim. Both you have in Sikkim. Do not get confused. Fine. And then Nakula Pass also, we have seen that China is disregarding, or else it is going against the principle of watershed. So what is watershed? That is as per the rivers, as per the natural rivers as the boundary. Natural rivers as the boundary. So which river are we talking here? Teesta River. So see, Teesta River is the one which is bordering between Sikkim and Tibet. That is the autonomous region which is of China, which is part of China. So we have the principle of watershed wherein the rivers and mountains are considered as the boundary between India and China. But China is now disregarding it. It is saying we are not following that. It is not following that. And that is the second instance why we have come up with the buffer zones, creating the buffer zone. Please do understand this is very, very important for prelims as well as mains examination. So first one is what? In regards to the 1979. First one is the LAC. LAC, what was in the 1979 and what is in 2020. Fine. And the second reason is because of the disregarding the principle of watershed. And the third one is in regards to the, we have seen recently, we have seen again Nepal is also going ahead with or has gone ahead with the new political map. Nepal has gone ahead with the new political map wherein it has considered the Lipu Lake Pass as part of the Nepal. So these three instances are forced India to go ahead with creating the buffer zone. So this is very, very important for prelims as well as mains examination. Buffer zone is very, very important. So this is Nakula Pass. Now Rahul, I will make you understand more better, or everyone also, what is the difference between 1959 LSC and then now post 1962? Why still 1962 is into the action between both India and China in regards to the LAC? So India and China share how many kilometers land boundary? 3,488 kilometers land boundary. And the conflict zone now in 2020 is the Galwan Valley, the Pangyongso Lake, Demchuk, and then Nakula Pass. And this is very, very important. So if you look at the red one, see this red one, this red line is the one which is the line which has been connecting post established by Chinese in 1959. So in 1959, this is the boundary between India and China, or else you can say it as an LAC between India and China, fine. And then we will look at the blue line now. Blue line is in the 1962, that is when we had a war between India and China. So this is the blue line. Please do understand this is very, very important in regards to the understanding, conceptual understanding. This is the 1962 and this is 1959. 1962. So look at this, 1952 to 1969. They have covered so much of area. They have entered, or they are saying that this is entire our area. Look at it. All this. So 1962 they have entered. Since 1959 to 1962 they have come till here. And again we will look at this dotted lines. So after 1962, after the war, China is claiming this line. Now they are claiming this as the line of actual control. Now if you understand this is post 1962, after, this is pre. Fine. So look at this now. Now they are claiming this line. So that is why it is important for us to understand the 1962, this blue line, 1962 blue line, and then the dotted line is post, and then the red line is 1959. The blue line is pre 1962 and the dotted line is post 1962. Pre and then post. Now Rahul, I think you are getting the point now. What is important is this one. That is why, because they are slowly moving into Indian territory. If you look at from 1952 to 1962 and again post 1962, and now that is why I said 1959 to 2020. If you look at, they are getting into the Indian territory, and that is the cause of concern. And that is why the government has gone, the Indian government in the COPS commander level talks. They are wanting to, or they have gone ahead with creating the buffer zone with 3 layers. And this is very, very important for prelims as well as mains examinations. Now, Rahul and everyone, have you all got this entire understanding about the lines? So definitely you have something called as 1873 onwards, and this line is this line is as per 1873, that is foreign office. And then you have the green line. This is the green line. The green line is as per the McDonald, McCartney and McDonald line. This green one, 1959. So I think everyone have understood. Now I'll move to the next one. So this is very, very important, Rahul, because I've said, because you have got up with this question. So the second one is in regards to the this. Yeah, thank you. Now I'll get to the next one. So the topic is Center to lay down vaccine trial norms. So definitely we have seen that the ICMR has come up saying that we will come up with the COVID-19 drug. The COVID-19 drug will be available by August 15th, 2020. So this was a statement made by the ICMR, Indian Council for Medical Research, have made a statement. What once again, Rahul? See, what is important is 1959 till 1962, the way they have come. Are you not concentrating, Rahul? Are you not concentrating? So 1959 to 1962, the way they have come forward, and they are definitely, the Chinese troops are getting into the Indian territory, are getting into the Indian territory, and that is why the Indian territory is being grabbed by the Chinese troops, and that is why now we have gone ahead with the buffer zone, fine, so that nobody will enter into. And then why? Because the Chinese always goes ahead with the concept called as status quo. That is, every time 1959, I have said in regards to what you said, 1959 and then 1962, 1975, 2013, 2014, 2017, 2020. So if you look at all these, I mean, different time period, they have entered into Indian territory, and slowly they are grabbing land. And then when they are moving back, they are saying, okay, when we are moving now, this is considered as the boundary line. So that is why from 1959 to 1962 and now 2020, they wanted to go ahead with the status quo. And this is very important, the keyword status quo, because Chinese always maintain the status quo. And that is worrying for India. And that is why a new concept called as buffer zone has come into the existence. I think, Rahul, now you have understood. Now I'll get to the next point. So ICMR has said that we will come up with the COVID-19 drug by August 15, 2020. And when it has come, so there was many critics against the ICMR itself, or the government of India itself. That how come the drug can be available so soon by August 15, 2020? And this has prompted across the world, many scientists and also WHO scientists and also WHO have raised the concern that in regards to the phases, you have trial phases or phase trials, wherein 1, 2, 3 phases you have, and in these 3 phases you will take certain amount of time to come up with the clinically tested drug or vaccine. So for that, across the world, they have said that definitely this is not possible, and how ICMR is going ahead with, and they have raised the concern. Many scientists across the world have raised the concerns that whether ICMR is following the guidelines or regulations. Now the question mark is, across the world, the scientists and many countries are having a doubt whether ICMR is following the WHO guidelines and then regulation in regards to the COVID-19 vaccine or disease, and that has created the government to lay down the guidelines. And what is important is now the government has come up with laying down the guidelines for the companies and institutions, and this has been issued by Central Drugs Standards and Control Organization. This is very important for prelims point of view, keyword. And these guidelines have been issued by whom? By the Central Drugs Standards and Control Organization. By the Central Drugs Standards and Control Organization. And then definitely they are going ahead with the prompted regulators, and then these regulations or guidelines are definitely into action. And then in India there are two companies, that is Bharat Biotech and then Zydus Cadila. Bharat Biotech and then Zydus Cadila has been cleared, or they have been given permission by the Drugs Controller General of India to go ahead with making of the drugs and the vaccine for the COVID-19 disease. So please do understand there are various keywords here. One is that the new guidelines will be taken up by the Central Drugs Standards and Control Organization. New guidelines will be come up, or they will take up by the Central Drugs Standards and Control Organization. And the other one is only two companies have been given the permission, that is the Bharat Biotech and then Zydus Cadila, wherein they have been given permission or cleared licenses by the Drug Controller General of India. This is very, very important. So who has given the license for Bharat Biotech and Zydus Cadila? That is Drug Controller General of India. So please do understand there are, what do you say, the keywords: Central Drug Standards and Control Organization, Bharat Biotech, Zydus Cadila, Drugs Controller General of India. And then you have three phases. This is very, very important again for you all for a better understanding. So definitely the ICMR, when we compare this with India, they have to go ahead with the trials. But ICMR said that by August 15th, 2020, they will come up with the drugs. But actually you have, what do you say, phases in regards to the drug trials, that is phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. Now we will look at, for you, for your benefit, I have brought in this picture image, that what happens in the three phases of the trials, that is for the vaccine to develop. So first the vaccine will be tested on few people in the trial 1 or phase 1 trial. The vaccine will be tested on few people, and in the phase 2 it will be tested on a group of people. But here group is what? New group, not the same one, new group. And why it will be tested? So that they will check whether it is stimulating in the sense whether it is improving, whether the vaccine is improving the immune system, and whether the vaccine is improving the immune system, and the second one is whether the vaccine is producing antibodies. What is important is about the vaccine is very, very important is it has to produce antibodies. Why? To fight against the antigens. What are antigens? SARS-CoV-2 virus. Fine. So antibodies have to be produced, and then it has to stimulate the immune system. So what is the importance of the vaccine, or the main reason of the vaccine? The vaccine has to improve the immune system of the individual, and then it has to produce the antibodies, so that those antibodies will be fighting against the antigens, that is the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Right? This is in the phase 2. Please do understand this is very, very important for conceptual understanding in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, because again this could be asked in the prelims. Which among the following, they can give you the trials in the left side and then the action onto the right side. Please do understand. Please do understand. Fine. And the phase 3 trial is what? They will test the vaccine on thousands of people to evaluate whether it is working. So this is preclinical trials, the first one, and the first they will test it in the labs, and then the first phase is on the individuals, second one is a group of people, and the third one is in regards to thousands of people. And then the next is FDA will review whether Evaluate, that is what I have used the word evaluate. It will, FDA will evaluate. FDA means Food and Drug Administration. Again, this is important for prelims. FDA means Food and Drug Administration. So Food and Drug Administration will review whether the vaccine is working positively on the patients, whether it is stimulating the immune system, whether it is producing the antibodies. That will be tested in the third phase. And then fourth phase is the drug is approved. And the drug will be approved in the fourth phase. The drug will be approved in the fourth phase. And then it will be given as part of the vaccine or the medication itself. So please do understand all this, and these are brought in for the you, especially for the prelims point of view. Especially for the prelims point of view, this will be important and for your better understanding. And then you have another news which talks about US stands on CATSA unchanged. So the US is taking up a stand on India. US is taking up a stand on India, especially India. India plus other countries, But we are now worried about, in regards to the news, we are worried about only India. So US is taking stands on CATSA. So CATSA is what? Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. So what is CATSA? So definitely this is again very important for prelims as well as for your better understanding. So what is CATSA? Countering America's adversaries. Countering in the sense you are countering any country. Countering, that means America will counter any country which is not having good relations with America, or which is having adversaries. Adversaries in the sense like kind of enemy. Adversaries in the sense an enemy country, or a country which is not following what America is saying. So whichever country is not following what America is saying, so then America will use this act. What is that act called as? CATSA. What is that? It will counter that particular country which is not following the what America is saying. So it will use what act? It is called as CATSA Act. So this act is called as CATSA. What is that? Countering America's adversaries. So who are the America's adversaries? It could be any other country which is not following the regulations which are being put forth by America. So that then situation, the America will use the CATSA. So US State Department has made it very clear that it will use the CATSA Act against its allies or partners. So when it has said allies or partners, it could be India. Why India? We will look at, because India is now going ahead with having the purchase of arms from Russia. That is why now US has come up with this statement. Why it is in news? It is in news because CATSA is in news. It is not new one. It is a very older one. Almost since 2016 we are seeing this CATSA. Fine. And then again in 2018 the US president can go ahead with, I will explain all that. Fine. But now the news is in, it is in news because India is now has planned to go ahead with purchasing the fighter jets with Russia. So India has gone ahead with the fighter jet deal with Russia, which is of 18,148 crore deal between India and Russia. And definitely it is the purchase of Russian arms. Purchase of Russian arms. What are these? The fighter jets. Fighter jets have been purchased, will be taken up between India and Russia. And when with this deal is happening, purchase of Russian arms between India and Russia, this deal has happened, and this deal is 18,148 crore rupees of deal which is taking place, arms deal. At this junction, the US has come up with saying, or US State Department has said that it will use the CATSA against its allies or partners. It hasn't specifically mentioned about India. It hasn't specifically mentioned about India, but it is saying that it will use, and it is urging its allies and partners not to go ahead with any kind of transactions, not to go ahead with any kind of transactions with Russia. So that means it is indirectly referring to India, because India has gone ahead with having a purchase of Russians arms deal with 18,148 crore. So defense minister has gone ahead with discussing the defense cooperation. So India and Russia, what is this? Again, for very important, defense cooperation, and this is the keyword. Please do mention in your answer book, defense cooperation. So what you should just not say purchase of arms. Yes, purchase of arms is right, but what you need to use when you are writing the answer in the answer is defense cooperation between India and Russia. And what is that even US department has urged its allies and partners not to go ahead with the transaction with Russia is, if it goes ahead, it will use the CATSA, that is countering America's adversaries through sanctions act. So how this defense cooperation will take place? So I have said this defense cooperation is very important. That is, it is a keyword asset, and this defense cooperation will take place by a council called as Defense Acquisition Council. This is very important for prelims as well as mains examinations. Please do consider this directly. Keyword Defense Acquisition Council, not the Defense Ministry will go ahead with having the deal between India and any other countries in regards to the arms. No, it is the Defense Acquisition Council will approve the procurement, will approve only when the Defense Acquisition Council will approve the required or the procurement or the requisite, only then the defense ministry can go ahead with the purchase of that, or else the deal will happen. And what are the deals now between India and Russia? That is 21 MiG-29 fighter jets. This is the first one, and the other one is the 12 MiG-29 fighter jets are 21 numbers purchased, and the acquisition in regards to Russian aircrafts are Su-30 MKI aircraft. So aircrafts are being purchased and then fighter jets are being purchased. Please do understand this, fighter jets and then aircraft from Russia. What are the fighter jets? That is 21 fighter jets, that is MiG-29. And what is the aircraft? Sukhoi or Su-30 MKI aircraft. So this is the fighter jets. This is a fighter jet, and this is the aircraft. For your better understanding, I have taken this. And then in the past also, India has gone ahead with purchasing from Russia S-400 Triumph missile defense system. So this is S-400 Triumph missile defense system. So this is the missile defense system which we have purchased in the past. So now we are going ahead with the fighter jets, aircrafts, and in the past the missile defense system. And then if you look at the US president has been given the authority. So US has come up with an act, that is the CATSA Act, but the US president has the authority which has been come up in the year 2018. In the year 2018, the US president can go ahead with waiving in the sense relaxing. Please do understand, this is very important. So US president in the year 2018 has got the relaxing power to waive the CATSA sanctions on case by case basis. Please do understand, case by case basis. So definitely it is not that once any country goes ahead with acquisition or transaction with the Russia, the CATSA will not automatically be implemented. No, US president in the year 2018, he has the authority to make sure that waiving, relaxing the CATSA sanctions on its allies and partners, that is US allies and US partners, so that it will take the issue as case by case basis. So it will look at whether it is necessary for the particular country, that is India. For India, now it will, US will look into this purchase of fighter jets, aircrafts. It will look into this purchase, defense procurement or defense cooperation, defense acquisition council of procurement of all this by case basis. So what is the case by case basis? That we need this because of India-China border issue. Please do understand. India-China border issue. Because of India-China border issue, we need that to protect our national interest or for the national security we are purchasing. So based on that case by case basis, probably US President might not, please use that, please reiterate, or I'm reiterating my point, might not use the CATSA sanction. Why? Case by case. Why case by case? Because when I'm talking about case by case, because India is definitely going ahead, or India has this kind of issue between India and China, and this is very important that India and China has this issue, and then we need to focus on that. And then Nandita Tepa has joined. Very good morning to you, Nandita. Just a minute. So this is what is been today's news. So definitely I hope all this has been really important from films and as well as mains point of view. So definitely again I'll come up with the next session will be in regards to tomorrow's session, that is 7:30 session. Again I'll take up the session 7:30, and you can also go ahead with logging into the AKS mobile app. You can also log into the AKS mobile app for further information. For further information, please do log in into the AKS mobile app, and also you can have access to the mobile number wherein you can also talk to the AKS, that is Advanced Knowledge System IAS Academy. So definitely my session again will be tomorrow at 7:30. So I hope all this was very important for you all in regards to the prelims point of view. So definitely I would say a big thank you to everyone, and then make sure that you are following the consistency in regards to your preparation, and then stick to your schedule. Make sure that you are following it perfectly, and then see you tomorrow again at 7:30 a.m. Rahul, I will definitely. I said couple of days. Please give me time till next week. I've told yesterday, day before also. Please give me a time.